Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. This time we are going to be looking at something that I think is always on everyone's mind,
Always.
and that is money and wealth.
Mm.
We are using Secrets of Money and Wealth, a comprehensive analysis, as our source material for this one, and we're going to be going way beyond just like the get-rich-quick schemes. We're
Right.
talking about the history, the psychology, and like the actual strategies that people use to be successful with money.
Yeah, and what I think is so captivating about this topic is that, it's not just about cold hard cash, it's about the systems we've built around money,
Right.
the emotions that it evokes, and how all of those factors sort of influence our well-being financially and also over generations.
Yeah. I mean, did you know that like your grandparents' financial situation might actually predict your own success?
It's true.
It's true, and we're going to unpack that and a whole lot more so.
A lot more.
Let's start with money's wild ride through history.
Okay.
I find it fascinating that early Americans bartered with things like furs and tobacco.
Oh.
Like, can you imagine trying to make rent payments with a pile of beefy pelts?
Oh my gosh, it really highlights how money is at its core, this social construct, right? Like, it's a shared belief in the value that we assign to objects or symbols.
Right.
So, like, even the move from bartering to standardized coinage with the Coinage Act of 1792,
Oh, yeah.
that marked like a huge shift in how we thought about money and how we interacted with it.
But it wasn't always smooth sailing.
Not at all.
Like, take the Continentals during the Revolutionary War.
Oh, yeah.
They experienced hyperinflation that was
Yeah.
so extreme, people were watching like their purchasing power evaporate by the day.
Exactly. And, this wasn't just a historical quirk. I mean, we've seen similar situations play out in modern times with devastating consequences. I mean, think of Venezuela in recent years or the hyperinflation that crippled Germany's Weimar Republic in the 1920s.
Right.
Um, these examples really illustrate the fragility of these monetary systems and the importance of sound economic policies.
So like what lessons can we draw from these historical crashes to apply to our own finances today?
I mean, I think one key takeaway is the importance of diversification.
Okay.
So, don't put all your eggs in one basket, whether it's one type of asset, one currency, or even one country's economy.
All right.
Spreading your risk can help mitigate the impact of like unexpected economic downturns.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, shifting gears a bit,
Sure.
let's talk about the psychology of wealth.
Okay.
It's not just about crunching numbers. It's about understanding the often irrational ways we think about money.
Absolutely. And this is where the concept of behavioral compounding, I think, really comes into play.
What is that?
So it's the idea that small, consistent financial habits, just like compound interest, can snowball into significant wealth over time.
So it's not just about the dollars and cents. It's about our actions
Yes,
and how those actions build upon themselves over time.
precisely. I mean, think of it this way. If you were to invest just $50 a week, starting at age 25, into a diversified portfolio of stocks that earned an average annual return of 7% by the time you reach 65, you'd have accumulated over $400,000.
Wow.
That's the power of consistent action combined with the magic of compounding.
That really illustrates how like seemingly small choices can make a huge difference over the long term.
They really can, and it's not just about good habits, right?
Right.
Understanding our psychological biases like loss aversion, that tendency to feel the pain of a loss more strongly than the pleasure of an equivalent gain, can also help us avoid common financial pitfalls.
So being aware of those biases is like having a secret weapon in our financial arsenal.
Exactly. Recognizing how our brains tend to work
Okay.
can help us make more rational decisions, especially when emotions are running high.
Now let's get practical. What are some proven strategies people can use to build wealth? I know budgeting and saving are often touted as like foundational, but let's be honest, they don't exactly scream excitement.
You're right. They're not the sexiest topics, but they are absolutely essential.
Right.
Think of them as the bedrock upon which you can build a solid financial future.
Hmm.
Budgeting isn't about deprivation.
Right.
It's about consciously deciding where your money goes so you can allocate more towards your goals.
So it's about taking control instead of letting your money control you.
Exactly. And saving isn't just about hoarding cash.
Right.
It's about setting aside money for future investments and opportunities. It's about creating that financial cushion so you can weather unexpected storms and seize opportunities when they arise.
Okay, so budgeting and saving are important, but
Right.
what about investing? What are some key things people should know to make their money work for them?
Well, the stock market has historically been a powerful engine for wealth creation. I mean, the S&P 500, for example, has averaged around 10% annual returns over its lifetime.
Really?
But it's crucial to understand that investing involves risk, and there's no guarantee of future returns.
That's an important point. But a lot of people assume that investing is only for the wealthy.
That's a common misconception.
Yeah.
You don't need a fortune to start investing.
Okay.
Even small amounts consistently invested over time can grow significantly thanks to the power of compounding.
Right.
And remember, diversification is key. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
Spread your investments across different asset classes to manage risk.
So beyond stocks, what other avenues can people explore to build wealth?
Well, real estate is another popular option.
Okay.
Owning property, whether it's your home or rental properties, can generate both income and appreciation. And for those who don't want the hands-on responsibility of managing properties,
Right.
real estate investment trusts, or REITs, offer a way to invest in real estate without the hassle.
That's a great option for people who want exposure to real estate but prefer a more passive approach. And what about entrepreneurship? It can be risky, but the potential rewards are huge.
Absolutely. Building a successful business offers unique wealth-building potential. You're not just earning a salary, you're building an asset that can generate income, appreciate in value, and potentially provide tax advantages. It's not for everyone, of course.
Right.
But it's an avenue worth exploring for those with an entrepreneurial spirit.
So we've seen how wealth can be built through stocks, real estate, and even starting your own business. But let's face it, there are a lot of myths and misconceptions surrounding money that can hold people back.
Definitely.
Let's bust some of those myths wide open.
Let's do it. A common one is that you need a huge income to get wealthy.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that one.
This simply isn't true.
Okay.
Remember the power of consistent saving, even if it's just a small amount each month. It's about building the habit, not the initial size of your contributions.
So it's more about the long game than the starting line.
Exactly. And another big myth is that all debt is bad.
Ooh, yeah, that's a big one.
While it's true that high-interest debt, like credit card debt, can be detrimental, there's also good debt, such as a mortgage that helps you build equity in a home or a student loan that invests in your education and earning potential.
Right.
It's about using debt strategically, not avoiding it altogether.
So debt itself isn't the villain. It's how we manage and utilize it that matters.
Precisely. And one more myth to tackle the idea that wealth mostly comes from inheritance.
Oh, wow.
While inheritances can certainly play a role, research shows that most wealth is actually built through hard work, smart financial decisions, and consistent effort over time.
So it's about taking control of your financial destiny rather than waiting for a windfall.
Yeah.
Now let's turn our attention to the future. How are emerging trends like artificial intelligence and digital currencies shaping the world of finance?
Oh, these technologies are already having a profound impact.
Yeah.
AI is being used to personalize investment advice, manage risk in real time, and analyze vast amounts of financial data to identify trends and opportunities.
So it's like having a virtual financial advisor.
Imagine having a virtual financial advisor available 24/7, providing insights tailored to your specific goals and risk tolerance.
That sounds incredible. And what about the rise of digital currencies and blockchain technology? Are they just a passing fad or the future of finance?
It's still early days, but the potential is undeniable.
Right.
Digital currencies offer new ways to store and transfer value, while blockchain technology has the potential to revolutionize everything from supply chains to voting systems. Of course, there are risks involved, but the innovation in this space is truly remarkable.
It feels like we're on the cusp of a new financial era.
Yeah.
But before we get too futuristic, let's bring it back to something that might surprise you, the concept of generational wealth. It's about more than just inheritance. It's about a whole financial ecosystem.
You're absolutely right. Research has shown this fascinating link between your grandparents' financial position and your own likelihood of success, even when taking your parents' wealth into account. It's not just about the money passed down. It's about the connections, the knowledge, and the opportunities that come with a family's history of wealth.
So it's like an invisible hand guiding future generations, for better or for worse.
In a way, yeah.
This isn't about judging or promoting elitism.
Right.
It's about understanding the long-term ripple effects of wealth, both positive and negative.
Exactly. It highlights the importance of not just building wealth for ourselves,
Right.
but also creating a legacy that empowers future generations to thrive.
That's a powerful thought.
Okay.
Now, let's shift gears and focus on what we can control our actions today.
Okay.
Building wealth isn't about waiting for a lottery win. It's about taking consistent steps in the right direction.
One of the most effective steps is to automate your savings.
Okay.
Make it effortless. Set up automatic transfers from your checking account to your savings and investment accounts.
It's like paying yourself first before you even have a chance to spend it.
Exactly. And never underestimate the power of knowledge.
Right.
Make it a habit to learn about personal finance. Read books, listen to podcasts, and stay curious about the world of money. The more you know, the better equipped you'll be to make smart financial decisions.
It's like having a financial roadmap instead of driving blindfolded.
And remember, think long term.
Okay.
What are your financial goals for the future? Do you want to retire early, travel the world, buy a dream home? Having clear goals will give you the motivation to stay focused on your financial journey.
It's like having a destination in mind when you set out on a road trip.
Mm-hmm.
You know where you're going, and you're more likely to stay on track, even when there are detours along the way.
And finally, don't forget to diversify your investments.
Right.
Spread your risk across different asset classes like stocks, bonds, real estate, and maybe even a touch of those digital currencies we talked about earlier.
Diversifying is like having a financial safety net. It helps protect you from major losses if one particular investment takes a tumble.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Remember, these steps are for everyone regardless of income level.
Right.
Building wealth is a marathon, not a sprint. It's about consistency, discipline, and making informed choices.
So as we wrap up part 1 of this deep dive, we want to leave you with a question to ponder.
Okay.
What one small financial change will you implement today? Maybe it's setting up an automatic savings plan or reading a personal finance article. Even the smallest steps taken consistently can lead to significant results over time.
Remember, building a solid financial future is within your reach.
It's not about luck.
It's not about inheritance.
Yeah,
It's about taking control of your financial destiny.
absolutely.
Thanks for listening to part 1.
We'll be back with part 2 after a short break.
See you soon. Welcome back to our deep dive into the secrets of money and wealth. Before the break, we were talking about the power of small, consistent actions and how they can lead to big results over time. I'm curious what resonated most with you from that last segment.
You know what really struck me was the idea of generational wealth being about more than just inheritance. It's like this invisible web of opportunities and knowledge that gets passed down, even if there's no trust fund involved.
It's a fascinating concept, isn't it? And it raises important questions about economic mobility and how we can create a more equitable playing field for everyone.
Right. And while we can't control what financial advantages or disadvantages we're born into, we can absolutely shape the financial legacy we pass on to future generations.
Right.
So let's talk about that. What can people do today to build a brighter financial future, not just for themselves, but for their children and grandchildren?
Well, one of the most powerful things you can do is instill positive financial habits in your children from a young age. Teach them about budgeting, saving, and the importance of investing. Even simple things like giving them an allowance and encouraging them to save a portion of it can make a huge difference.
It's like planting those seeds of financial literacy early on so they grow up with a healthy relationship with money.
Exactly, and don't underestimate the power of leading by example. Children often learn more from what they see than what they're told. If they see you making responsible financial decisions, saving for the future, and investing wisely, they're more likely to adopt those habits themselves.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It's like that saying, actions speak louder than words.
And beyond direct financial education, there are other things you can do to create a legacy of opportunity.
Okay.
Supporting your children's education, whether it's college trade school or entrepreneurial endeavors, is an investment in their future earning potential.
And it's not just about formal education, right? Encouraging their passions, exposing them to different career paths, and fostering their entrepreneurial spirit can also open doors.
Absolutely. And even if you don't have vast sums of money to pass down,
Right.
sharing your knowledge, your experiences, and your connections can be incredibly valuable. Think about the skills you've acquired, the lessons you've learned, and the people you've met along your professional journey.
Yeah.
These intangible assets can be just as valuable as any financial inheritance.
It's like passing down a toolbox filled with wisdom and guidance that can help them navigate their own financial paths. And speaking of paths, let's bring it back to our own financial journeys.
Yeah.
We've talked about strategies like budgeting, saving, and investing. But what are some specific actions people can take today to move the needle on their financial goals?
Well, one of the most impactful things you can do is take a close look at your spending habits.
Okay.
Are you spending money on things that truly align with your values and goals?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you mindlessly swiping your credit card and then wondering where all your money went?
It's so easy to fall into the trap of mindless spending, especially with all the online shopping and subscription services out there.
Exactly. So take some time to track your expenses for a month or two.
Okay.
You might be surprised by what you discover. Then identify areas where you can cut back on unnecessary spending.
Right.
And redirect those funds towards your financial goals.
It's like giving yourself a financial makeover, streamlining your spending and freeing up resources for things that truly matter.
Exactly. And beyond trimming expenses, look for ways to increase your income.
Okay.
Could you negotiate a raise at work, take on a side hustle, or turn a hobby into a source of income?
In today's gig economy, there are so many possibilities to generate extra income. It's like having multiple streams flowing into your financial river.
I like that analogy. And remember, even small increases in income, when combined with consistent saving and investing, can make a big difference over time.
Now, I know we've touched on investing, but I think it's worth diving a little deeper. For someone who's new to investing, where's a good place to start?
One of the simplest and most effective ways to begin is by investing in low-cost index funds.
What are those?
Index funds track a specific market index, such as the S&P 500, and offer instant diversification.
So instead of trying to pick individual stocks, which can be risky and time-consuming, you're essentially betting on the overall performance of the market.
Exactly. And over the long term, the market has historically trended upwards. So it's a solid strategy for building wealth gradually. And there are now many platforms that allow you to invest in index funds with very low fees, even with small amounts of money.
So you don't need a huge account balance to get started.
Ah,
You can dip your toes in the water and gradually increase your investments as you become more comfortable.
exactly. And remember, investing isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It's about building wealth steadily over time. It's like planting a tree. You nurture it, give it time to grow. Eventually, it bears fruit.
That's a great analogy, and it highlights the importance of patience and discipline in the investing process.
Speaking of patience, I think it's important to address the emotional side of investing.
Okay.
The market can be volatile, and it's easy to get caught up in the hype or panic when things go up or down.
Right, you hear stories of people making or losing fortunes overnight, and it can be tempting to try to time the market or chase the latest hot stock.
But trying to time the market is notoriously difficult, even for seasoned professionals. A much more effective approach is to create a diversified investment strategy based on your goals, risk tolerance, and time horizon, and then stick to it even when the market gets bumpy.
So it's about having a plan and sticking to it rather than reacting emotionally to short-term fluctuations.
Exactly. And remember, investing is a long-term game. Don't let the noise of the market distract you from your goals.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here: budgeting, saving, investing, and even the emotional side of money.
Mm-hmm.
It can feel overwhelming, but I think it's important to remember that building wealth isn't about being perfect. It's about progress. It's about making small, consistent choices that move you closer to your goals.
I completely agree. It's about taking ownership of your financial future and taking action, even if it's just one small step at a time.
And before we wrap up this section, I want to touch on one more thing: the importance of mindset. Our beliefs about money can either empower us or hold us back.
That's a crucial point. If you believe that wealth is only for a select few, or that you'll never be able to achieve financial freedom, you're less likely to take the actions necessary to make it happen.
So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Our beliefs shape our reality.
Exactly. So challenge those limiting beliefs. Embrace the possibility that you can achieve your financial goals no matter where you're starting from.
It's about believing in yourself and your ability to create the financial future you desire.
Mm-hmm. Now we're going to move on to the last part of our deep dive, where we'll explore some additional resources and tips that can help you on your journey to financial well-being.
Stay tuned.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've covered so much ground today, from the history of money to the psychology of wealth, from practical strategies to the importance of mindset. It's a lot to take in, but hopefully you're feeling inspired and empowered to take control of your financial future.
Yeah, it has been a really fascinating conversation. And, I hope our listeners are walking away with a deeper understanding of, the forces that shape our financial lives and the steps that they can take to build a more secure future.
Right. And before we wrap things up, I wanted to touch on a few resources that can be incredibly helpful on your financial journey. So first off, there are some fantastic books out there
Oh, so many.
that dive deep into personal finance and investing.
Absolutely. The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins is a classic that breaks down investing in a really clear and concise way. And for those interested in the psychology of money, or your life, by Vicki Robin and Joe Dominguez, offers a really thought-provoking perspective on our relationship with money and how to align our spending with our values.
And like beyond books, there are countless podcasts and online resources available, many of which are free.
Totally free. Investopedia is a great website for learning about, investing terminology and concepts. And for those who prefer a more visual approach, Khan Academy offers free educational videos on a wide range of financial topics.
And, don't underestimate the power of community.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
There are online forums, Facebook groups, and even local meetups dedicated to personal finance and investing.
Mm-hmm.
Connecting with others who are on a similar journey can provide support, accountability, and a wealth of knowledge.
It's like having a financial cheerleading squad to help you stay motivated and on track.
Exactly. And speaking of support, don't be afraid to seek professional guidance if needed.
Mm-hmm.
Financial advisors can provide personalized advice tailored to your specific circumstances and goals.
Yeah, and it's really important to find an advisor who is a fiduciary, which means they are legally obligated to act in your best interests.
Right. You want to make sure you're working with someone who is on your team and has your financial well-being at heart. So as we come to the end of this deep dive, we want to leave you with one final thought. Building wealth isn't just about accumulating money.
No.
It's about creating a life of abundance, freedom, and fulfillment.
It's about having the resources to pursue your passions, support your loved ones, and make a positive impact on the world.
It's about living a life that is rich and experiences relationships and meaning. So keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving towards the financial future that you deserve.
Thank you so much for joining us on this journey into the secrets of money and wealth. We hope you found it insightful and empowering.
Until next time, keep diving deep.